Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Packernet Podcast. I am your host and resident panelist, as always, Ryan Schlipp. Check us out online, packernet.com. Find me on Twitter, pack_daddy. Well, we got another training camp to run through, so we got to get through all of that stuff. First of all, a couple things. The other player that I never actually saw the name come up, and I forgot to go find it, is Devante O'Malley, defensive tackle. That's who the Packers also signed. If you remember yesterday, they cut two players. We talked about one player, and then the other one, I didn't. But O'Malley from Northern Illinois, played for the Huskies, undrafted free agent, initially picked up by the Tennessee Titans. He is a rookie, so 2025, his first year here. No participation in the preseason so far. Spent 5 years at NIU, 4 years as a starter. In those 4 years, his grades were 59, 73, 65, and 66, so he was never very impressive. Appears to be more of a pass rusher. Based on his grades, 2022 is the only year his run defense was any good, and it was better than his pass rush. Pass rush grades 62, 69, 65, 75. Best thing I can say about the guy, I guess, is that he had kind of a breakout pass rush year, but even that was 27 pressures on 284 attempts, which is slightly less than 10%. 7 sacks is pretty good, though. But anyways, he'll come in, they'll mess around with him, see how he does. You should check his RAS, how much you want to bet. It's 8 or higher. Would you look at that? It's a 9.2. Tells you everything you need to know. Why would the Packers be interested in this guy? I don't really understand. UDFA with extreme athleticism. Despite his size being substandard, he was actually 284 pounds at the combine, which is really small. 6'2", 284, but had great speed, running a 4.95, 1.73 10-yard split. Great agility, 4.46 shuttle, 7.46 3-cone, and elite explosion, 32.5-inch vert, 9.05 broad jump. There's your answer, folks. Looks like the Colts have officially named Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback over Anthony Richardson. There's a lot of stupid takes about this. I saw, who was this? Former NFL player believes the Colts are tanking for Arch Manning after naming Daniel Jones the starting quarterback. Are you serious? That was RG3's take, is that they're tanking for Arch Manning. First of all, pretty sure Arch Manning is going back to school, so that's stupid. Second of all, have you watched Anthony Richardson play? Now, I still think they should put in Anthony Richardson because you might as well go ahead and try to tank with the guy. Give him one more year. He's young. Extremely young. He's one of the youngest quarterbacks in football still. Put him in. Let him play. If it goes horribly, you draft somebody else. If he shows anything, great. There's no benefit to putting in Daniel Jones. None. But I think this is the whole, like, if you need more proof that the NFL refuses to tank, here you go. They believe Daniel Jones is marginally better than Anthony Richardson, so they're playing Daniel Jones. And that's the full extent of how much they've thought into this. Daniel Jones is better. That's it. The opposite of what RG3 is saying. Because Daniel Jones is better. Very, very marginally better, but he is better. Anthony Richardson is beyond dog crap. But you still drafted him, and if you're going to be moving on from him soon, you might as well play him. What the heck is the point of just leaving him on the bench and then drafting? So just play him. Stupid to me. Also, just put another little check in there. I want to make sure the negative Packer fans are listening. Anthony Richardson is a bust. Let's try to keep track of other teams also busting. Just making sure we're paying attention. No practice for Baron Sorrell again, according to Easton Butler. Some pretty not great news. According to head coach Matt LaFleur, Packers safety Omar Brown is still in the hospital in Indianapolis, still progressing in his recovery. I mean, I'm sure he's going to be okay, but definitely not great news. They were hoping he'd be in there basically overnight and out the next day. And as of the 19th, he is still in the hospital. So hoping that he does well. He's able to recover and get back on the football field sooner than later. Lucas Van Ness and Kenny Clark are both practicing today after missing yesterday with back injuries. Aaron Banks appears to be missing a second straight day with his back injury. Didn't Banks have a back injury before? Isn't that what his issue was before? He missed time with a back injury, came back, and now is missing with a back injury again? Or am I hallucinating that? Hopefully I'm hallucinating that. By the way, I got to play this for you. It's better to watch it, but apparently there is a America's Team Netflix series. I wasn't even aware of that. But here's what John Machota says. I believe the Cowboys' 2023 playoff loss to the Packers, down 48-16 midway through the fourth quarter, is the worst loss in franchise history. Jerry Jones in the America's Team Netflix series says, this loss hurts us in every way, more than any one we've ever had. Here's just a 29-second clip. It's a lot of just sad, dramatic music. So again, it's better with the video, but it is pretty glorious.
Green Bay Packers have a 40-burger in Big D in the third quarter. Unbelievable.
Oh, what a hole. Oh, what a disaster. This loss hurt us every way more than anyone we've ever had.
There's been a lot of jokes about the Packers completely broke the Cowboys ever since that loss, and there's a lot of truth to it. I mean, the team is night and day different. I mean, they were a really scary team. Packers were more or less being overlooked in that game. I don't think the Cowboys had lost a single game at home. Dak Prescott, you could argue, was the best quarterback in football that year. And then last year, the Cowboys just looked like dog crap. They're kind of just a laughing stock now. It's rough. Jordan Love working with the brace on his left thumb. Monk Lloyd Sorrell over on the exercise area with the rehab group. X once again working with the trainer, but with helmet and doing some backpedaling. Savion with helmet off to the side doing some catching. Don't see Aaron Banks. As mentioned earlier, Kenny and LVN back. A lot of jokes or not so jokes about the Packers eventually getting Anthony Richardson. In no way would I be opposed to that at all. Presumably this comes by way of like a Malik trade because, Malik is kind of at that point where there's got to at least be a team out there saying, let's take a shot. I mean, for crying out loud, the Colts. You know what I mean? Like, we'll do Malik and Richardson trade, and you're going to give us some. How about that? I mean, I want to keep Malik as long as possible, but I don't know how long that's going to be possible until a team comes a-calling. Caden Sanilla says, I know it's only position drills, but Bo Melton overall looks so much better at cornerback compared to where he was at the start of training camp. Injury update. Welcome to Packers training camp, practice 17. Returned, Van Ness and Clark. Not participating, Banks, Monk, Savion Williams, Lloyd Sorrell, Omar Brown, Zane, McKinney, Reed, Wicks, and Hobbs, pup list, Watson, Oliver, and offensive lineman Williams. Brandon McManus is not suited up. Instead, he's wearing the stripes. McManus is one of today's refs at practice. What in the world? One-on-one highlights via Eversol. Dobbs beat CV on a dig. King all over Musgrave. Pass breakup. Heath, sweet route on a comeback, beat Melton. Cornelius Johnson beat Herring on a go. And then Brandon McManus dressed as a ref. One-on-one notes from Andy Herman. Some of these are going to be duplicate, but he's got a huge list here. Dobbs beat Valentine on a slant. Fitz wins inside against Oladapo. Haddon good coverage on Nair. Heath turns around Melton. Melton still almost makes the play. Baldwin good coverage on Sims. Hardman beats King. Nixon shuts down Golden. Cornelius Johnson smokes Herring on a go for a long touchdown. Good coverage by Bullard, but Kraft catches a short one. Nice catch by Shep. Hicks beats Ballantyne, bobbles and catches it deep, but the bobble cost him and he ends up out of bounds when he catches it. Bullard, good coverage on Kraft deep. Nixon pass breakup and almost a pick in the red zone on Golden. Heath beat Haddon inside. Bo locks up Nair at the line. Bullard pass breakup on Kraft. King pass breakup on Hardman. Sims touchdown versus Oladapo. Hodkwitz says Brenton Cox Jr. had a nice bull rush versus Tom in one-on-ones. Also beat Brant Banks inside. Powerful, quick dude. Morgan acquitted himself well versus Brooks at left guard. Good battle between Ryan and Wyatt, too. Starters today, Lucas Van Ness. This is so the defense first. Lucas Van Ness, Clark, Wyatt, Gary. Cooper, Quay, McDuffie. Nixon, Valentine, Bullard, Williams. Almost the entire starting group. We're only missing Xavier McKinney and Nate Hobbs at corner, presumably. The only real competition that I can think of, and maybe it's not even as much of a competition as I'm making it out to be, but I'm wondering about Tyron Hopper overtaking McDuffie, if that could possibly be a thing or not. But otherwise, yeah, you put in Hobbs at corner and put in McKinney at safety, and there is your starting defense. On the offense, Willis at quarterback in for Jordan, obviously. Jacobs at running back, Kraft and Musgrave at tight end, Hardman and Dobbs at wide receiver to start. Walker getting the nod at left tackle with Morgan again at left guard. They're going to keep doing that. I don't know. I didn't hear at all that they swapped that, so I don't know if they just kept it that way or how that all panned out. Elton Jenkins at center, Sean Ryan at guard, Zach Tom at right tackle. The center to right, I don't really see that changing. I haven't even heard of Ryan being challenged at right guard. Morgan seems to be pretty solidified at left tackle with the occasional rep at left guard just filling in for the time being. And Melton, who I thought could potentially be a solid right guard, they seem pretty determined to keep him at right tackle, which I don't know what to do with that because Zach Tom's not going anywhere. Unless, again, down the road they decide to move Zach Tom inside and put Melton at right tackle, which I think would be crazy, but that's a conversation for another year. Spofford said competitive stuff in red zone one-on-ones. Love with a great fade to Dobbs versus Valentine. Nixon almost interception versus Golden. Bullard with a pass breakup in front of the pylon versus Kraft. King pass breakup versus Hardman. Melton with aggressive jam at the line versus Nair. Elton Jenkins does a good job of finding work and picking up a block to allow Willis time to throw deep downfield to Musgrave for a big gain. That a boy, Musgrave. Eversol says Malik Willis hits Musgrave on a deep out for about 20 yards. Lucas Van Ness busts through for a tackle for a loss of Jacobson 11-on-11. There's your Lucas Van Ness highlight of the day. Willis hit Musgrave on a crosser the previous play. Wooden and Cox don't bite on play action to force Clifford incompletion. Bullard all over Willis pass to Dobbs on a crosser nearly picked, instead a very loud pass breakup. Rashawn Gary pressure on Willis to break up a screen for Jacobs. Bullard breaks up a pass for Dobbs off a play action 2 plays later. Malzahn says Javon Bullard is having a really good day. A few pass breakups and one-on-ones and team drills. Need to hear that, man. That is a high pick that I don't want to say I've given up on, but I just feel like we've been down this road so many times. That second-round DB that's just not good. And I know how this story plays out. Which is stupid because he's not all those other guys, but my brain and my heart have just turned off to Bullard. There's nothing there. So hopefully something can reignite there a little bit. Brenton Cox all over a bootleg by Clifford. Javon Bullard jumps a pass, almost picks it. He's off to a hot start. Elgersma finds Nair over the middle for a sliding catch. Bullard and King with some good reps, forcing pass breakups. All right, why don't we take a break? We'll be right back. We'll keep ripping through some notes. We'll be right back. McNamee goes 3 for 3. Oh, boy. Makes from 33, 43 left hash, 44 right hash. Good ball from Love to Kraft on a 15-yard post. Sharp so far. McManus calls pass interference on Nixon versus Dobbs. Yes, McManus, who is playing an official today. Jordan Love with an absolute perfect deep ball to Romeo Dobbs in 7-on-7. Herman says Love starts 8 of 8 in 7-on-7 with a short out to Golden, check down on a swing to Wilson, nice over route to Kraft, then a short completion over the middle to Musgrave, follows it up with a check down short to Hicks, a short completion to Fitzpatrick outside, about a 10-yard in to Hardman over the middle, and somehow fits in a throw to Musgrave down the field with Quay in coverage. Finally, Nixon with a pass breakup on Dobbs to end the streak, but McManus aggressively throws a flag for pass interference. He goes on to say it definitely wasn't pass interference. He then has a pass go off the fingertips of Hardman and throws a bomb to Dobbs for a deep touchdown with Valentine beat on the play. Good start for QB1. Maybe we just need to keep his hand all casted up. Just lighten it up out there. Hodkowitz called that a 40-yard pass to Dobbs for the touchdown. Perfect throw, and 87 got a step over the corner. Huber says Love went 10 of 11. The incompletion was a drop. Through 12 passes was PI on Nixon on the other. Simmons and Melton, the first gunners on punt coverage. Hardman and Nixon, the primary punt returners. Lucas Van Ness meets Golden in the backfield on an end-around in team. Dobbs with a nice catch on the sideline with a comeback from Willis. Edgerrin Cooper with a likely sack on Willis coming off the edge against Zach Tom. Coop is just so fast. Hodkowitz says Cooper out of a cannon off weak side for a sack and move the ball. Matt LaFleur just called his shot before the play, and it ends with a bomb from Willis to Golden and a deep post for a touchdown. That was awesome. Wow, Malik Willis with a brilliant deep ball to Matthew Golden for a 46-yard touchdown, one of the prettiest sequences of camp. Ryan Wood calls it 53, says Malik Willis throws a bomb to Matthew Golden, who cooks Keyshawn Nixon and Evan Williams on a post route for a 53-yard touchdown. Rookie sure looks ready for week 1. Play of the day, Malik Willis play action and unleashes for 55 to 60-yard touchdown pass to Matthew Golden, who has so much space. That 4.29 speed in full force. Safety Evan Williams was the closest to Golden, and the rookie still has 3/4 steps on him. Heck of a throw from Malik. Kalen King with fantastic rep and run defense to shoot through the line on a toss and stop Jacobs in the backfield. Nice play down the field from Clifford to Baker. Aaron Mosby with a would-be sack against Belton. McNamee makes his next set of 3 from 33, 46, and 49. Good bounce back after Indy. Love hits Dobbs on back-to-back plays for 37, but number 1 offense stalls at the plus 25 and 2 minute. Let's get the full 2 minute here. 1:30 left, down 7, 1 timeout, 1st and 10. Love complete over the middle, clock ticks. Love complete down the field to Dobbs, clock ticks. Incomplete, 2nd and 10, 52 seconds left, 1 timeout, ball at the 38. Swing pass to Brooks for about 4, but clock ticks, timeout. Love to Hicks complete, out of bounds, 1st down. Love incomplete over the middle. Packers practice ends out of nowhere, not sure why. Huber says practice ends with Evan Williams colliding with Tucker Kraft to prevent a 4th and 2 completion in 2 minutes. That might be why. Huge collision between Kraft and Williams on 4th and 2 and 7-on-7. 2-minute drill right sideline. Kraft couldn't hang on. Both got up okay. That's the most important part. Some high-pressure one-on-ones. Nair incomplete with Haddon in coverage. Wilson smokes Hopper on the route but drops the ball. Cox versus Melton, and Belton anchors for the win. That now does it for practice. Offense does push-ups. After practice, quarterback Jordan Love is throwing to Jaden Reed and Tavian Wicks. They're not running routes, but they're lining up at distances where Love might have to put the ball if they're running them. Holy cow. 5.1 million people watched the Bears preseason game. That's the most in preseason history. The network's most watched NFL preseason game since 2021. Okay, so that was not quite correct. The NBA All-Star Game gets about 4.7 million viewers. The NHL Stanley Cup Final, 2.5 million. Twice as many people watched a freaking preseason game than watched the Stanley Cup. A standard baseball game, 1.74 million viewers. World Series gets 15 million. But a high draw for a baseball game is about 3 million. That's a big regular season game, 3 million. The Bears preseason game got 5 million. Regular season NBA game, 3.8 million viewers on average. An average NBA postseason game averaged 6.12 million, just above this game. That is crazy how much the NFL dominates everything else. And by the way, a NFL regular season average viewership, 17.5 million. So a normal, just regular old Sunday gets more viewers than the World Series, and almost twice as many viewers as the NBA Finals at 10 million. Top regular season games, not just average, top like really big matchups, probably like primetime Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, whatever, 30 to 40 million. In the regular season, 30 million. Twice as many people will watch a prime Monday Night Football matchup as watch the World Series. And then the Super Bowl, 128 million viewers in the United States. The peak was 137.7. So call it 130. That's 13 times the amount as the NBA Finals at 10 million. 130 compared to 10. And what was it, 17 for the World Series? Now, it is per game, so there's multiple games, so you're figuring, 15 times however many. But even still, if you add up all of the games, it still doesn't reach the Super Bowl. But you wouldn't add it up. That's not the way that you would do it. You'd pick the final game, the biggest game, whatever you want to do. People sitting down on a day watching the World Series can't even get to 20 million, which a primetime NFL game, 30 to 40. I mean, I knew the NFL dominated. I don't think I realized it was to this degree. Baseball game on average, 1.74 million per game, which is a 22% increase year over year. That's big for baseball, apparently. Freaking crazy. I can't believe they got 5.1 million viewers to watch Bears-Buffalo on Sunday. Jeez. It's a funny Twitter exchange. Cameron Azair, not sure who that is, says, Keyshawn Nixon has locked up Matthew Golden twice today. Good bounce back for CB1 after the rookie has gotten him a couple times during practice early on. Matthew Golden quote tweeted that and said, what are you talking about? Bro, you sound stupid right now. Rookie defensive lineman Baron Sorrell's knee injury is a sprained MCL. He said he does not think he will be out more than a few weeks, so perhaps he won't need an IR designation to return spot. Well, let's hope not. Let's hope he's going to be all right, because that guy was looking pretty promising. All right, it looks like I'm all caught up on notes for now, so why don't we take a break? We'll come back and do something else. We'll be right back. Well, we're starting to get a couple calls trickling in here. We're still a little shy, so why don't we just take some calls, and that's what we'll do to finish her out. I've got some ideas, but I'm going to save that for tomorrow because we need a day, you know what I mean? So, Ron, what's going on?
Hey, Ryan. It's Ron from Eau Claire.
What's up?
And I wasn't able to watch the preseason game today against the Colts because I was working, but I watched the highlights. And, well, first of all, called in last week with the whole comment with the disturbing trend. And then, then you had some different episodes about, overreacting to the preseason. I liked the episode where you read quotes from other teams' fans or other teams' analysts and article journalists and stuff like that, where you kind of proved that everyone feels that way, where
Yeah.
They don't show up in these big moments. So, anyways, I appreciated that that take on it, where you kind of put it into perspective. I definitely need that. But yeah, today I liked a couple of things. Even just I don't know how the entire game went, but just watching the highlights. Mecole Hardman had a few nice catches as a receiver, which is nice. I like to see that. Marshawn Lloyd had a nice run up the seam. Not up the seam, I'm sorry, up the sideline. With the reception.
Yep.
I thought he was a receiver. He looked really speedy, and that's really nice to see. And then Manuel Wilson had a couple of nice plays in there. My only question is, what are we still doing with Sean Clifford? Of course, I didn't see the game. Maybe he played okay. But at this point, what is there to find out? Maybe I'm missing something. But again, I didn't get to see the full game, just the highlights and the stats. which didn't look too impressive, I guess. But, I mean, Malik Willis, I think, is definitely, like, the obvious number 2. And that other quarterback that came in seemed like he was playing pretty well based on the stat sheet. Again, I don't know. So you have to give me your opinion on that. Because I'm kind of just puzzled. Like, I mean, obviously having Sean Clifford on the team or not doesn't make or break anything. I don't really care. He seems like a good guy and everything. But from a roster building standpoint, I'm just kind of like, I don't know, like what's stopping him from cutting him? So anyways, those are my thoughts.
Well, I mean, I don't know that there's necessarily a rush. I mean, they drafted Clifford. They had pretty high expectations on him. They know he's a project guy. I think they always kind of saw him as a number 2, which he still could be, pending, Malik moving on at some point. However, like I just said recently, I think yesterday or whatever, as much as I wouldn't have thought that they would, because the Packers are going to have a third quarterback, right? They're going to put him in the practice squad or whatever, but they're going to have another guy. And I would have thought Clifford had that very well locked up, and this Elgersma guy had no real chance of actually overtaking a guy that the Packers like and that the Packers drafted. It's a steep climb for Elgersma to take that spot from him. However, I think it's getting pretty close. I think the Packers, first of all, really like him. I think they like his tools, strong arm, big quarterback. And so I think it's going to be kind of a tough choice for the Packers. But I do think, unless they're seeing something that we aren't, Clifford really just hasn't made strides of any kind. He's just kind of there. And I do think Elgersma represents a little bit more of an exciting upside kind of a prospect as opposed to Clifford, who, again, supposedly has a really high IQ or whatever, but I don't know how much of that translates to the field. I certainly don't think you trust him if things go south. So I don't know where they stand. Again, it's going to be Jordan and then Malik, and then who is going to be that third quarterback to make the practice squad. And I don't know. I think it's a legit competition, but the signs to me are pointing to Elgersma getting it. I can't imagine they would put 2 quarterbacks on the practice squad. I don't follow the practice squad super close enough to be able to know precedent when it comes to that. But I think generally you're just going to have 1. Plus, I think Clifford may even be less appealing with Malik here because, as a number 2, you're doing different things than practice. Practice squad is, we need you to kind of run as the opponent quarterback. So we're going to need you to be able to do certain things. Not that Elgersma can really do it either. But, I mean, you're looking for a guy that's, like a Malik. So it's, you can be a pocket passer this week or, we got a guy that's mobile, and so we're going to need somebody running these types of plays where he's kind of getting out of the pocket and doing all that to kind of help get our guys ready, running scout team stuff. So the bottom line is the appeal of Clifford potentially is even going down more, giving them more flexibility to make a different decision. But yeah, all the signs as far as Clifford doesn't seem to be taking any strides. They really seem to like Elgersma. Elgersma seems to be outplaying him. And the fact that they're giving Elgersma the number 3 spot right now in terms of, not that it's anything official necessarily, but he's going out there and playing first before Clifford. That all to me is sort of pointing in one direction. Now, again, I don't think that there's any reason for the Packers to rush it. I think they're going to take their time, but that's what it's going to be. It's a competition to see who's going to win that job. I mean, if anything, if we're looking at anybody going, I don't know why we're wasting a spot on this, it's the McNamee guy, the kicker. There's no competition there. Just I don't understand the point.
All right, I got further down in the highlights and saw that Clifford scored a couple, or led us a couple of scoring drives, scored a touchdown with his leg, made some nice plays just running the ball as a scrambler. So I guess he didn't play bad. He played pretty well, it seems like. So maybe I'm nuts, but yeah, I don't know. I'll revise what I said before. I'm not sure about Sean Clifford. That's why I need your opinion.
Yeah, and like I said, that's kind of where I'm at. It's a competition, and we'll see where it ends up, I guess.
Hey Ryan, Beer Cheese Benny here. I'm tired as hell. Just had our baby girl last night.
Congrats.
Which would be at this time, August 16th it would have been. It's currently Sunday, August 17th, I think. I don't know, dude. I'm so tired, man. And anyway, so yeah, dude, that's freaking awesome. And my daughter was born a winner. You know, the Packers won the day she was born, and the Brewers also won, and they are at 14-game winning streak now, best in franchise history. For any of you that care about the Brewers. So yeah, dude, really cool, man. But you know, it's funny. Before my wife decided, she's like, "Yeah, I think we need to go to the hospital." I was watching the preseason game, you know, not paying too much attention to it because honestly, there's no merit to it, really, especially this game when they were just trying to see who's going to be the third stringers and whatnot. But I noticed Bo Melton. I don't know, man. It kind of seems like a serviceable corner for us. You know, he's not great, but he's not terrible. Like, looks like he can keep up with guys, and obviously you're not going to want him on like a number one or a number two guy, but I think he could do good rotationally for us, or if a guy goes down, like, it may not be too bad, you know. And I like that Banacanda guy. I thought he ran just really tough, and then Emmanuel Wilson just continues to show me that he belongs as the RB2 man. He does it right, man. And I'm gonna stop talking because I honestly don't want to say anymore. I'm so fucking tired, man. I'm gonna try to get some sleep here. I'm back on my way to the hospital after having to take the dogs out back at home and feed the birds. And so we'll see how it goes, but yeah, daughter was born a winner, and go Brew Crew, let's win the World Series, and then have the Packers win the Super Bowl. Then my daughter is really super born a winner.
Yeah, I mean, on the Bo Melton thing, it's so hard to tell. Again, I don't think it matters just because the depth really just isn't there. I mean, you got Kalen King and you got Bo Melton, right? We do have our Micah Robinson, the other 7th-round pick and whatnot, but I mean, it's not the most difficult competition spot, I guess. And I think, again, the Packers like him enough. He's certainly made enough strides considering how little the amount of time is that he's been a corner with Green Bay. He's already seeming like he's one of the better backup corners. But it is really hard to tell. I don't know what's going on out there in terms of, you know, we're not seeing much. There's a handful of snaps in preseason games and then some notes from training camp and whatnot. So that's why these things can always be somewhat surprising. But I don't really have any doubts whatsoever that, you know, I mean, the Packers are rooting for him. And either he was going to bomb and they were going to cut him, or he was going to rise to the occasion and he was most likely going to stay right where he is. And I think that's going to be the case. I don't know, but I haven't really screwed around with the 53 to see where the pain points are. That's kind of when you get a better idea of like, oh, shoot, I don't know, man. I don't know if this is going to be super doable here. But I think he's got a real good shot. Abanikanda is obviously going to be impossible to make the 53, but there's questions about practice squad, obviously. But congrats on the baby, man. That's awesome.
Hey, Ryan, TJ from Alabama. Just a few random thoughts as we get ramped up for the season.
All right.
Thought number one is Caleb obviously had a good drive, which means crank up the hype machine again.
That was what I was saying too, as far as like it's a good thing because you don't want. Look, it's fun to have everybody falling out of love with Caleb, and then the Bears fans throw a hissy fit about it. But they also are starting to get very sad getting into the season. And we can't have that. They got to come in with so much energy on week 1 and ready to rock and roll, because that's where the pain really comes in. The reason the Bears continually suffer so much pain is because the Bears do a great job of giving them hope. They keep giving them hope. This is why Bears fans make so many excuses, because they just believe the excuses of the team. Oh, well, that was just the coach, and now we got a new coach. Oh, that was the offensive coordinator, now we got a new coordinator. Oh, that was the offensive line, now we got a new offensive. Oh, that was the wide receivers, and we got a new offensive. Oh, that was the quarterback, but we got a new quarterback. Well, and then we start the cycle all over again. Well, that quarterback had a bad coach, so we got new coaches. And, bad offensive lines, we got new offensive line. Oh, we got some new wide receivers. It's the same thing over and over again. But it was so bad this offseason, they were already giving up. So what happens? They hang like a, 38-0 blowout win over one of the best teams in football. It was such a big win, you can't even do the whole preseason thing. I mean, you can and you should, but as a Bears fan, they don't have the ability to control that. They can't not get all hyped up, even though Caleb was, 2% of that whole outcome. It's game over, right? The coach is elite, the quarterback's elite, everything's elite. It's great. We're going to beat Buffalo. We're going to win the Super Bowl. It's all wonderful.
Bears are going to win the Super Bowl because in the second preseason game of the 2025 season, Caleb Williams had a good drive. So obviously that means that the Bears are going to win the Super Bowl.
And again, I don't know this, but I would bet almost anything the Bears scripted that entire drive. The Bears scripted the living crap out of that. It's why Caleb did such a good job. And again, I really do believe this. I think that they hid him week 1 because he was looking so bad. They didn't want him to go out there and look like crap. So they come back around week 2. Obviously, he has to play. So they do what nobody else does in the preseason. You don't game plan against your opponent. You're not going out and scripting all these different... They did. They went out with the intention of blowing out Buffalo. They went in with the intention of, we're going to call our best plays, we're going to run misdirection, we're going to do all this. And that's what Caleb had. Handoff, bootleg, tight end streaking across the field wide open. I mean, man, they fired right down there. And Caleb, he knew right where his eyes needed to go, and he's throwing good passes and all that. Probably because he's been practicing it all week. But it doesn't matter because he did it. And now Bears fans believe it. And so now that has to happen every time. And guess what's not going to happen every time? That drive is not... Nobody's doing that drive every time. Not even the best teams in football are able to pull that off on a regular basis.
And let the hype machine crank up. Second random thought, completely non-Packers related, but Isaiah Bond signing with the Cleveland Browns, that just makes perfect sense to me. It seems like, I don't know nothing about nothing, but it seems like the Browns just kind of like those kinds of players.
Browns and Chiefs, man, they just love them.
I'm thinking the Browns are probably going to sign Justin Tucker next and kind of just do the trifecta of having,
Careful.
never mind.
Yep.
All right. Packers-wise, in all honesty with the Packers, we could even cancel the third preseason game as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
I just want to see the guys get healthy. If we can get back Xavier McKinney, if we get back a couple wide receivers, if we can get Jordan some healthy, I'm ready to go. I'm feeling good about the season. I just want our guys healthy. Put them in bubble wrap, and let's kick it off against Detroit and go. All right, that's it, Ryan. Take care. Go Pack, go. Bye.
I agree, man. I think our first and second string guys all should be pulled. Anybody that has essentially locked up a roster spot needs to not play, and all the bubble guys are just going to have a death match. They all go in, they play the preseason game, and if you can come out healthy, you can make the 53 too, or the practice squad, whatever you're competing for. But yeah, I don't want any player or any depth player of any kind getting injured. McManus doesn't play. Daniel Whalen doesn't play. McNamee can do all the kicking and punting. All the returning will be done by that depth of wide receivers and running backs. We don't need any of our guys out there. Quarterback is just Clifford and Elgersmo. We'll see, again, last man standing. And if we're short any positions because of that, then oh well. we'll patch somebody else in there. Have a bunch of two-way players. I don't care. But I'm with you, man. I don't want to say I'm over it. I'm excited the preseason's here. I'm excited we get to watch football, Packers football, all that stuff. It's fun. It's a good time. But the injuries are mounting. It feels like we kind of got lucky where most of these guys seem like they're probably going to be back week 1. Not that that's great that they didn't practice for the 3 weeks leading up to the game, but whatever. Still, I'll take it. But we're pushing it. It's getting a little close. Let's freaking take it easy, all right? All right, I'm going to get out of here. You guys, again, get your calls in. See if we can't do a Packernet After Dark tomorrow. All right, have a good one. Bye-bye.